Good morning, world. Today I am present before you with the podcast on the topic Prose Style of Carlyle. Before I begin, it is advisable that you keep a notebook and a pen so that you can jot down the important points relating to this particular topic. It is further advisable that use earplugs for listening to the podcast. So here I begin. The Victorian age was an age of spacious intellectual horizons, noble endeavours, and bright aspirations. It was an age alive with new activities and was exceedingly productive of literary work of a high quality. Writers were, as a rule, content to work upon former models, and the improvements they did achieve were often dubious and unimportant. This age witnessed a wide range of style in the writings of various writers. One of the greatest literary figures of this age who gave new dimensions to Victorian writing was Thomas Carlyle. It has been said, I quote, "Scarcely anyone has equaled him in painting a character or in focusing the tendencies of an age." Unquote. The domain of moral literature and literary style witnessed the contribution of Carlyle. His contribution to prose literature was remarkable because he not only introduced a new style of writing but added moral tone to literature. During Victorian age, the genre which got maximum applause came into prominence for public and all was essay because under the influence of science, it was prose that became the most powerful and influential modes of expression. Carlyle belonged to the category of those essayists who related life with letters. The literature of the Victorian age focused on three aspects. First, to express meaning. Second, to give lasting pleasure. Third, to use appropriate words. As a writer, Carlyle was followed based on these three aspects and applied it in his writing so that the purpose of writing in Victorian age be served. He possessed brilliant intensity of style which was binding and led the writer into violent contrasts that lack proportion. Regarding Carlyle's style, Etten says, I quote, "He did not talk like books, his books talked like him." Unquote. With his writings, Carlyle impressed different people in different ways. I quote, "At times he is calm, persuasive, grimly humorous, as if conversing. At other times, wildly exclamatory, as if he were shouting and waving his arms at the reader." Unquote. Carlyle was an easy, manly, and companionable writer, and his writing style undoubtedly reflected his prevailing mood. There was a touch of purity and harmonious strain in his writings. The choice of subject and the way Carlyle gave justice to it adds to the stylish features of his writing. Carlyle's maturing genius, under the influence of the sense of prophecy and spiritual enthusiasm, molded his style. His prose style reflected his violent habits of mind and feeling. The prose style of Carlyle marked a revolt against the Augustan conventions and limitations. In his writings, we find vividness, use of similes, metaphors, which were not at all present in Augustan literature. Burns, fighting miseries victoriously, is compared to a lion shaking dewdrops from his mane. This type of comparison was not present in Augustan times. Coming to the flight of imagination, we find Carlyle wrote about Burns' arrival on literary ground as, I quote, "like a little well in the rocky desert places, like a sudden splendor of heaven in this artificial Valhalla." Augustan literature never witnessed such flights of imagination. Carlyle's style amalgamated humor, pathos, and ridicule. About Dr. Johnson, Carlyle says, I quote, a hard, struggling, weary-hearted man or scholar, as he calls himself, trying hard to get some honest livelihood in the world, not to starve but to live without stealing. Unquote. At times, he touches a gamut of emotions, humor, pathos, scorn, sympathy in one. As a whole, Carlyle's prose style was innovative, unique, and conspicuous. It was in itself a trendsetter, but there were some peculiarities in Carlyle's style. According to some writers, he used unnecessary capitalization of the words, which served as false signal to the reader. He employed dashes, and at times these dashes complicated the thought content. He used German construction, long compound adjectives, superlatives, and gave the readers the admixture of actual neologisms and coinings. He introduced erratic metaphors, which became elliptical in excess. Despite these peculiarities in writing, Carlyle was never obscure. The energy of his manner is part of the matter, and due to this energy, he is able to convince his readers. Once Carlyle said, I quote, "Style is the skin of the writer, not a coat, and public is an old woman." Unquote. To conclude, it can be said that Carlyle was a self-made man, and so was his style. His way of presenting his ideas was his own. There is no personal touch in his essay. His writing was stupendous enough to give so fine pictures that it was difficult to ignore him altogether. He no doubt is an essayist of great caliber. So this was all about the prose style of Thomas Carlyle. Please leave your observation and questions in the comment section below. Like, share and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click on the bell icon to get the latest updates. Thank you for your valuable time. Have a good day ahead.